Hi guys, welcome back. So today we're going to start to implement a small Redis database on our project. Very excited for this. Redis is very interesting and fun to work with. So let's start by installing Redis server on our machine. So here I have opened a GitHub profile which is of Microsoft Archives/Redis. I will put this link down below so you guys can refer it and download this. As you can see, this is the latest release. This is the version that I'm going to use in our project. This is 3.0.504 and we want to install or we want to download this zip file right here, Redis 64 3.0.504.zip. So once you have downloaded this and extracted this, you will get something like this, and you want to double click or you want to run this application redis-server. Let's allow access. There we go. And as you can see right here, it's running on port 6379. By default, this runs on 6379, so you don't have to do if you want to assign some different port, you can do that, but I'm going to leave it as it is. And you can also see over here Redis CLI. So if you double click this, you can see it's running a terminal of port 6379. Here you can type Redis commands for querying your Redis database. We'll get to this in just a second. So back to the project. Here I'm going to install a few things. First, I'm going to install npm io redis. This is going to help us with initiating our Redis server. Next, I want to install socket.io -redis. This package is going to help us communicate or patch our socket server with Redis server. This is going to use something called as pub sub mechanism, publish and subscribe mechanism. If you guys want, you can read about it in this link, redis.io/topics/pubsub. This is very brief, so I'll put this link in the description as well. Read it, it's very important to understand the concept. Back to the project. Here, let's start implementing with let's start implementing. So let's start implementing Redis with session storage.js. Now, I don't like how this looks, so I'm going to quickly change this, and I'm going to quickly format this inside a class. So let's start to implement our Redis server with let's start with our Redis. So let's start with our Redis implementation. I'm going to go inside our session storage file. Here I'm going to do some formatting. I'm going to put all of these functions inside a class. So I'll do that. So as you can see, I have written a class session storage, and I've declared all the methods, and I have created a class called in memory storage, given all the class constraints over here, defined all the functions. And if you guys want, you can just pause this and code it down by yourself. I'm going to save some time by not showing how this implementation because this is pretty simple to understand. So I'm gonna, if you guys want, just pause it right now. So I'm gonna minimize this now. and I'm going to write our function, or sorry, our class, Redis session storage class. So it extends session storage, and here I want to write a constructor which is going to have our Redis client passing in. So let's quickly write super, and I'm going to say this dot Redis client equals Redis client. Let's initialize this in our constructor, and now let's write our functions, or let's define our functions to be precise. So I want all of these to be asynchronous. So to save session, we are going to use a command called hset or hash set in our Redis. So here let's type hset Redis. As you can see, I've already given over here. So let's read about this. It contains 3 fields. So hset, the command itself, and the key, the hash set key, the main key. The second one is the field name, and third one is the value. So you can have multiple fields, but you cannot have multiple keys inside just one hash set. So if you want to have a different hash set, you want to have to declare a different h set altogether. But if you can have multiple fields inside, you can have uh, multiple values passing to the field. So this is the basic syntax for hset which we are going to use. So hset, key name, field name, and then the value. So let's implement this, and here I'm going to say await this dot Redis client dot hset. So just to be safe over here, I'm going to write multi. So multi is basically allowing us to execute multiple commands all at once. And after this, I'm going to write exec. So basically it piles all of our commands which we want to execute, and it's going to execute all of them one by one. So that is the purpose of writing multi. So here I'm going to write pass the values as I said in the syntax. So I'm going to write session colon, and I'm going to pass our session ID over it. Oh, I didn't pass parameters. So session ID and our user object. So I'm going to deconstruct this. Inside this, we are passing user ID, user name, and status. So connected, right? Yeah, connected. So here I want to pass session ID. Now the reason why I'm writing session colon is you will get why I'm writing that in when I write the find session method. So the next value is going to be our field. So this is going to say session. Next is going to be the value. So this does not take a direct object. The hash set does not take direct object in Redis. So we have to stringify this object and pass it inside the hash set. So json.stringify, and I'm going to pass in our user object inside. So that's it. This is how we can save a session inside our Redis. So this is going to execute. After executing, it's going to return us the return value is going to be an integer type. It's going to be 1, where 1 means it has inserted successfully. So it's not exactly of use, so I'm not gonna do anything. Technically you can write, because this is an asynchronous operation, you can write then over here and you can do some operation over here, but I'm not gonna do it. I just want to save my session asynchronously, and we have done that. So next is gonna be find session. So this takes in a session ID as parameter. Again, I want this to be an asynchronous, and I'm going to write this dot Redis client. Now I'm going to write again multi, just to be safe. We are not exactly executing multiple statements over here, but just to be safe, it's better to write multi, because down the line if I want to create another hash set or get another hash set, this is very useful. So instead of h set, I'm going to write g set, that is get h set, sorry. So here, in like we created hash set, I'm going to write h get, which is hash get, and then exec. Here uh, we're going to check what the syntax is. So for h get, see, this is h set, don't follow this. Second command, h get, is the key and then is the field name. So here I'm going to write session colon, going to pass in the session ID. Next is going to be our field, which is session. This is it. And then not any exec, this is going to return a promise, so I have to await it. And then here I'm going to write then, because this is a promise. And then you can also write catch over here, right? So console log, for now I'm gonna log this error, whatever error it is. Right, so in then I'm gonna pass an arrow function. Here it's gonna return some result. So this result is going to be a string, because we have passed json.stringify over here as a string. This is passed as a string, so we need to parse this when it's returned. So json.parse result. So we'll get this object as it is to our clients. We need to put return over here. That's it. That's it for find session. Next is find all session. So next is find all sessions. So write this, where this doesn't take any parameters. Again, I want this to be asynchronous. So here we're going to use something called as scan. Redis scan method or scan command. So let's quickly look at what scan does. I'm going to say scan Redis. There we go. Redis.io commands / scan. I'm going to put all of these commands in the description so you guys can refer it. So let's use this now. Here I'm going to put the syntax inside. So I need 0, and next is going to be my keyword. I want something to match, and then I want it to match something like this, right? Because I want to return all of these session IDs which are matching over here. So that is the reason why I put session and colon over here. So this will make easier for me to retrieve only the session ID itself. So return whatever is inside star. So whatever comes after my colon, correct? Next, I want the count. I want the number of records which is going to return. So by default, it's supposed to be 10, right? In the documentation, it says as the default value for count is 10. So if you don't put this or even this, for that matter, it's going to return 10 records at a time. But I want all of them, so I'm going to write count, and I'm going to say return minimum 100 records. And actually I made a mistake. This is not going to be 0. This is going to be, actually it's going to be 0 at start, but it's going to change once it revolves. So I'm going to declare a let, I'm going to say this as next index equals 0, and pass this inside. So this is going to be a asynchronous call, or this is going to return a promise. So I want to await this, and this basically is going to return two properties. So first is going to be the index of next count or the next cycle. So this is going to be next index. This is already declared, but it comes as a string, so I'm going to say as str. So, and the next bit of the next property is the actual results itself, the session IDs. It's going to come over here, which are matching. So I want to put this logic in some sort of loop, because I want this to keep rotating, keep cycling until my next index or this value returns 0. So in this context, do while suits very clearly. So in while condition, I'm gonna put my variable next index is not equals to 0. So until the next index is not 0 fully, then keep rotating this. So this is gonna be my next index. So I'm going to say next index equals, I have to parse this because this is coming as string. I'm going to say next index as str, and for good measure I'm going to pass in a radix of 10. Here we go. Now I have to store this result somewhere, right? Because this is continuously looping until this next index or this value comes 0. So I need to store this result somewhere. But the problem over here is that sometimes these results are the same, or the session IDs come back same, and every single time the session ID, I don't want to have duplicate session IDs involved over here. So I'm going to use a set. So when I declare constant keys, I'm going to say new set. So that way, if we do have a key which is already inside a set, it's not going to get replaced. So I'm going to say results, right? I want to say for each, because this is an array. and I'm going to pass in an arrow function inside. I'm going to say keys dot add, and I'm going to pass our session ID, right, which is unique. So we have our keys. Now we need to perform our commands individually. So how do we do that? We create a array called as commands. One way to do this is like this: equals an empty array, and I'm going to say keys dot for each, right? So for each key, I want to push this inside our, and I want to push this saying h get, and I'm going to pass our key, and I'm going to pass our field name. So that way we get our commands array inside, and then we can query our database. So just say return this dot Redis client. I'm going to say multi, and I'm going to pass our commands inside over here. This is going to execute, and then this is going to create some response. It's going to bring some response in, and basically these is going to bring multiple keys or multiple records. So this is an array. This is going to come as an array. So sessions are going to come as array. So I'm going to deconstruct this, and I'm going to say return JSON dot parse sessions. So here it's going to return multiple records of strings, as we are passing string as you're storing string inside over here. So it's going to return us a bunch of strings as records, as arrays. So just going to parse this as JSON, and then return this as array as well. So I hope you guys understood this. It can be a little bit complicated, but it's simple enough to understand once you understand how to write syntax and how to execute all of these commands. So we are done with the Redis session storage. Now let's make changes and import a bunch of packages that we installed earlier. So here I'm going to import Redis from IO Redis. Next I'm going to import a function from socket.io-redis. This is going to be our adapter. So create adapter. So here let's declare a constant called Redis client, which we are passing inside our session storage. If you didn't recognize, Redis client equals new Redis. So this is done. Now inside our server object, here just below cores, I'm going to say adapter, and I'm going to call this function create adapter, which we imported. Here inside here I'm going to declare an object. This is going to receive our pub client, which is going to be our Redis client. Pub client is our publish client, and Redis client, and also subscriber client, which is going to be Redis client's duplicate. So dot duplicate. There we go. Our adapter setting is done, and now is the time to change our in-memory storage to Redis storage. So I'm gonna quickly just paste this over here and say Redis session storage. There we go. And here I'm gonna say constant, and I'm gonna cut this equals new Redis session storage. There we go. And I'm gonna pass a Redis client inside. So this should do it. Our constant find any, or find all sessions. There we go. All of them are returning promises. That should change a few things over here as well. We need to put this as async, and we need to await this promise as well. Let's put that for save session. Where is it? There we go. Let's await this as well. Third is our find all sessions. So here let's write await. This looks a little bit ugly, I'm not gonna lie. So I'm gonna remove this, and I'm gonna write sessions equals await find all sessions, and then write sessions dot for each. There we go. This looks much better. So yeah, this is it for our Redis session storage. This might be a little bit longer video than I thought, but we got a lot of things done. We had to set up our Redis server. We created an adapter. We changed our session storage file. We replaced our in-memory storage with Redis session storage. We understood commands. We explored hash set. You can get hash sets. We also learned how to scan our Redis database for particular keys. We can get counts. We can match. We learned syntax. All of these things. So productive video, in my opinion. Might be a little bit long, but I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like if you did, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.